Will CBS sue me for using this background? You think that's crazy? It might not be, and I'll get into why. Stephen Colbert's appearance on the public access TV show Only in Monroe felt spontaneous, like a canceled late-night host dropping by a tiny Michigan public access station to do one last show. But CBS later confirmed the episode was financed and produced by CBS Studios, which means this wasn't simply Colbert showing up on public access television. We can't know Colbert's exact motive, but the performance clearly benefited him. It reinforced the image of Colbert as an outsider returning to his roots, and it arrived just as he launched his own YouTube channel. What's even more fascinating is Colbert said CBS paid a big fat bribe when it paid $16 million to settle a lawsuit with Donald Trump. Isn't it also kind of a bribe when CBS pays a community access TV station so they can create a fictitious public access TV show with Stephen Colbert? Why didn't he call out the conflict of interest between CBS and Monroe? In my previous video, I pointed out that Colbert could have written sharper, harder-hitting jokes, but chose not to. I argued that Colbert actually weakens activism in this country by substituting real outrage with comedy that diffuses anger. It gives people a release valve, making it easier to move on rather than stay engaged. Is this Colbert's fault or our fault? I don't believe this is all on Colbert. As I mentioned, CBS stated openly that they financed Colbert's Only in Monroe episode. How can that be? We know the station itself is a non-profit, as stated on the Monroe community website Media. CBS confirmed its involvement when it sent copyright notices to YouTube channels that reposted the episode, saying the content belonged to CBS Studios. CBS has described this as a collaboration between themselves and the station, but think about what that means. A non-commercial public access station collaborating with a commercial media giant like Paramount? Those two things are fundamentally incompatible. Public access stations exist precisely to be free from commercial interests. The attempt to frame it charitably by auctioning off memorabilia on eBay with proceeds going to a nonprofit doesn't resolve the core problem. It's a fact. A commercial production company used a nonprofit public resource to produce and distribute commercially owned content. That makes the donation a fig leaf. The only way a commercial company can produce content at a CATV station is by renting out the facilities. So sure, the station benefited from the rental fee, but doesn't CBS and Colbert get more out of it than they do? Was this nonprofit station being exploited by CBS? Was it exploited by Stephen Colbert to build a commercial audience for his new YouTube channel? But here's where it gets a lot worse. On the show, Colbert says, "I am grateful to be able to be here on Monroe Community Media before they also get acquired by Paramount."
So I am grateful to be able to be here on Monroe Community Media before they also get acquired by Paramount.
He knew CBS Paramount was involved and made a joke about it instead of disclosing it. Here's another. Colbert says, "Are they sponsors? Are there sponsors? They're not. And we don't have any sponsors. We actually lost a lot of money making the show tonight. Now I know how CBS felt."
Are they sponsors? They're not. And we don't have any sponsors? And we actually lost a lot of money making the show tonight? Now I know how CBS felt.
He explicitly acknowledges there are no sponsors, reinforcing the public access authenticity, but then he says, "We actually lost a lot of money." He can only mean he lost money. Monroe Media can't have lost money because they're a non-profit. In this next clip, Colbert flat out lies. He says, "Thank you for letting me host your show every 11 years. He wasn't hosting a CATV show. It can't be a CATV show because CBS claimed a copyright on it. That fact is known. I'm not speculating." Then he says, in addition to being great people to work with, have also informed me that this is true, that since they are no longer using this set, it would actually be helpful for me to destroy it.
Fellow broadcasters Michelle Bauman and Kaylani Ray Rafko Wilson. Thank you for letting me host your show every 11 years. See you ladies again in 2037. And a huge thanks to Genevieve Benson and everyone here at Monroe Community Media, who in addition to being great people to work with, have also informed me, and this is true, that since they are no longer using this set, it would actually be helpful for me to destroy it, which is pretty great news, because right now, for no particular reason, I would very much like to break something. Jack, some TV set destroying music, please.
That's one explanation. Here's another. I believe CBS insisted they destroy it because CBS didn't want others using what they viewed as their property when they paid for the studio. Sure, CBS probably paid the station for a replacement set, but how much? And here's something he said I found very dishonest. He says, which is pretty great news because right now, for no particular reason, I would like very much to break something. He wants us to believe he's so upset with CBS he wants to break something. He's saying that when he's still working with CBS, but he doesn't say he's working with CBS. Don't you find that dishonest? To understand why CBS's and Colbert's abuse of public access TV is a problem, you need a little history. Public access television was created so ordinary people, not corporations, could use public media infrastructure to speak. That's why this matters. If major commercial studios can use public access facilities as a backdrop while retaining ownership of the content, the line between community media and corporate media disappears. What most people don't understand is that these stations would be overwhelmed with requests if their facilities could be used for commercial distribution. The equipment is expensive and studio time is limited. If a powerful corporation like Paramount can walk in, use a nonprofit station's resources, stamp a copyright on the result, and distribute it commercially, it is abusing community property. That's what happened in Monroe, Michigan. And the factors wrapped in the appearance of a scrappy, authentic public access show makes it worse, not better. In my view, Stephen Colbert owes viewers and Monroe Community Media an explanation for why he pretended the show was genuine public access TV. Let me recap. First, Monroe Community Media is a nonprofit public access station. It exists to serve the local community, not commercial interests. This is true for all CATVs across the country. Second, CBS confirmed in a public statement that the show was financed and produced by CBS Studios. That legally prevents any production it creates from being part of a public access production. Third, Colbert presented himself as appearing on a public access show when in reality he was the host of a privately financed, commercially produced commercially produced CBS studio production that happened to be filmed in that building. Fourth, and most importantly, when a commercial entity rents a public access studio, it has no real relationship with the public access mission. The nonprofit's name and aesthetic get attached to the production, but the nonprofit has no editorial control, no ownership, and no meaningful stake in what gets made. The community gets nothing except having their station's identity borrowed for someone else's content. One could argue they get some free publicity, that I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, okay. The issue isn't whether Colbert was funny. It isn't whether the episode was entertaining. Remember, Stephen Colbert called CBS's payment to Trump a big, fat bribe. He said it with conviction. He said it like he was sticking up for the little guy, us. He had no trouble accusing CBS of paying a big, fat bribe, but when it came to his conflict of interests, he said nothing.